Elite Facts presents
7 millionaires who blew all of their fortune.
7.
Mike Tyson. Let's start with one of the most obvious stories. Now, Mike Tyson is pretty much a textbook example of a celebrity blowing all of their hard-earned cash on ridiculous items. It goes without saying that Mike Tyson has had quite a colorful financial history. The world heavyweight champion of boxing has been in a constant battle with bankruptcy, far more than your average celebrity. Despite at one point in his illustrious career being worth almost $500 million, Tyson's ridiculously nonsensical spending habits mean that he has squandered this mind-boggling amount of money. Tyson is known for his penchant for expensive jewelry and even more expensive sports cars. His crazy spending habits peaked with his purchase of 3 rare Bengal tigers for $114,000, which is above the annual salary of the average American. Hell, as well as buying 3 Bengal tigers, Tyson also bought himself a solid gold bathtub worth around $2.2 million. However, Tyson's spending soon caught up with him, and in 2003 he filed for bankruptcy.
6.
Nicolas Cage. Now, if Mike Tyson is the poster boy for nonsensical spending, then that makes Nicolas Cage the czar of it. Nicolas Cage is a notorious big spender. I mean, considering the amount of films he stars in, why not splash out and buy a few luxurious items? Cage has starred in between 2 and 3 films every single year. Although many critique his acting and his role choices, he's now one of the most highly paid actors in Hollywood. It's estimated that Cage makes around $20 million per film. Now, you're probably thinking, how could he possibly go bankrupt? $20 million per film? He's in like 50 films a year. Do the math. There's no way he could go bankrupt. Well, despite his incredible wages, Cage has proven himself to be a disaster with money. Cage bulldozed through a personal fortune of $100 million in just a few short years. Alcohol, drugs, and gambling weren't even the chief contributors to his financial downfall. To put it bluntly, Cage has uncontrollable spending habits. He owns 4 yachts, because, one just isn't enough, 15 homes, and several private islands. Cage is also known for more bizarre purchases, such as the saber-toothed tiger skull he bought for $276,000. Wow, we love Nicolas Cage, but if he keeps this up, he'll be scraping for money rather than scraping at the door.
5.
Kim Basinger. So at one point in her career, Kim Basinger was one of the biggest names in Hollywood. She made her name as one of the most famous Bond girls of all time, albeit in the unofficial Bond film Never Say Never Again back in 1983. After that, Kim quickly became a sex symbol, and with that, she made a huge amount of money. However, Basinger became known for having slightly erratic spending habits. How erratic? Well, at one point in her career, she purchased an entire town for a staggering $20 million. A few years later, she pulled out of the film Boxing Helena, which she was contracted to appear in. This led to a legal dispute which resulted in the film studio suing her. She attempted to sell off her town in Brazelton, Georgia, to pay legal fees. However, the value of the town had plummeted to just $1 million, meaning that she was forced to file for bankruptcy.
4.
Björgulfur Gudmundsson. So, for those of you who don't know, Björgulfur Gudmundsson is an Icelandic businessman, and aside from having a name that I will continue to mispronounce and butcher, at one time he was the richest man in Iceland. Gudmundsson and his son Thor, which by the way is an awesome and easy to pronounce name, were 2 of the most powerful men in the country. I mean, with a name like Thor, you'd have to be. Both men held large shares in huge companies such as Landsbanki, the most popular bank in the country. In 2008, Gudmundsson was declared a billionaire by Forbes magazine. Despite this amazing accomplishment, Gudmundsson would declare bankruptcy just a few months after the Forbes magazine article during Iceland's catastrophic economic crisis. Because of the economy dropping, Gudmundsson had to start dabbling in fraud, a practice which many Icelanders still believe to be one of the main causes of the country's financial crisis. Gudmundsson paid the ultimate price, though, with his net worth plummeting from $1 billion to nothing in a mere 6 months.
3.
Michael Jackson. Now, it's unclear what Michael Jackson's exact net worth was when he passed away. His family put out a questionable estimate that his earnings would have been somewhere between $40 to $42 billion had he not died at the age of 50. Back in 2005, when the pop legend was charged with child abuse, prosecutors thought he was on the edge of bankruptcy with $300 million in debt and $400 million in liabilities. A lot of people described his spending habits to be that of a billionaire, even though he was only a millionaire. Jackson's prosecutors tried using the star's financial trouble as evidence of his guilt in the case. Jackson passed away in 2009 due to cardiac arrest. He was still in debt at the time of his death and was hoping his upcoming comeback tour would help bring him out of it.
2,
MC Hammer. So back in the 1980s, MC Hammer was one of the biggest artists in the world. I mean, he was kind of a one-hit wonder, but that doesn't change the fact that he was a big deal. When rapper MC Hammer released his hit album, Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him, in 1990, he had an estimated net worth of $33 million. That's pretty impressive, right? Well, shortly after the release of this album, in 1996, Hammer filed for bankruptcy protection with a total of $1 million in assets and at least $10 million in debt. Years later, Hammer told Oprah Winfrey his debt wasn't a result of frivolous spending. During this interview, he said that, quote, "I took my money and employed 200 people in my community. I had a payroll of $1 million a month at times." Hammer is now married with 5 children and does everything from investing in internet startups to preaching to developing iPad apps. As of 2013, he reportedly still owed the IRS $800,000 in back taxes. "You can't touch this" does not apply to the IRS.
1,
Anna Nicole Smith. Back in the prime of her career, Anna Nicole Smith was a well-known name in the world of celebrity. She first made her name as a model, posing for Playboy and Guess. She would later go on to act on screen in such projects as The Hudsucker Proxy and Ally McBeal. Her real claim to fame, however, was when she infamously married rich oil tycoon J. Howard Marshall, when Marshall was 89 years old and she was just 26. Smith was labeled by many as a gold digger, but it was this marriage that would eventually lead to her financial downfall. After she was left out of Marshall's will, Smith was furious with the decision and entered a lengthy court case to attempt to claim half of Marshall's fortune. During the court case, she was found guilty of sexual harassment in a separate case, and Smith filed for bankruptcy. She died of a drug overdose before the case reached its conclusion. And that's our list. Did we leave any out that you know about? Let us know in the comments below. Please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.